Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So, we are going to be doing a sketchbook tour today because I've finally finished this sketchbook, which took me way too long. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to get my candid reaction for some of these drawings since it has been quite a few months since I've actually looked at the entirety of the sketchbook, because I ended up recording this. Well, this is my third attempt because of the lighting. Everything was either too exposed or the focus was a little bit off, so we're re-recording today. But let me talk about the sketchbook a little bit first before we actually dive into its contents. I always get questions every so often about this particular book. I'm glad a lot of you guys like the design of this. So it's a bunch of hydrangeas, kind of blue, pink, purple themed. And it's kind of one of my favorites. So I did design the cover of this via Vograce, and basically it's actually a blank notebook. So it has this really pretty cover. It has much thinner paper. It's also very, very smooth, which is my preference when it comes to drawing anything with graphite. So I like using it as a sketchbook, but I do advertise it as a notebook because I don't want people to get too confused on why maybe the paper is not performing the way that they want it to. But yes, this is a blank notebook. I think it has 196 pages, but yeah, basically a notebook that I've designed the cover for, and it's one of my favorites. I won't have any notebooks available for quite a while due to the US tariff situation. But let's go ahead and jump right into our sketchbook tour, I guess. So to kind of start off, once we open our sketchbook, we're kind of greeted by the first page. So every time I start a new sketchbook, I will immediately put the space for a start and an end date. If we round this up to September 1st, then I think that would be 10 months. So I'm just shy of 10 months working in this particular sketchbook. And like I mentioned, that's double the time that I take typically for this particular size and the amount of pages. Which technically I'm filming this the day after I finished the sketchbook, so it's August 30th for me. So that at least my feelings towards the sketchbook is still fairly fresh for the most part, and the fact I already went through the two other recordings. But the first page of the sketchbook, I do like doing some sort of intro or greeting page, or how I like to call them a hello and a goodbye page. So right here, I do have my OC Maseki. He's done in gouache, and then I use some alcohol markers to do the little title for the beginning of our sketchbook. Now I do alternate, well, I used to alternate between Maseki and then Wonu from 17, but I believe my last sketchbook was also OC related. It might have been Maseki again. And I know my next sketchbook, I want it to be a different OC. So if you guys have any predictions on which of my OCs you think the first page is going to be, kind of my intro page, do let me know because I'm interested. I think it's kind of obvious who it's going to be. I'm going to give you one hint. It's not Maseki. I'm not going to do Maseki, I think 3 in a row. It's not the first thing that I actually draw in the sketchbook. The first thing that I draw is usually the planning stage. So on the back side on this manila paper, I kind of planned out our hello and our goodbye page, kind of wrote down a little bit of notes on stuff that I wanted to include, and luckily this actually helps me later on so that on my last page I can refer back to whatever idea I had, because I do like to match the pages. So just some very quick sketches done with pencil. Then on this side we have more pencil drawings of my OC Maseki. Even more of Maseki. So these were also done with a mechanical pencil. Then I had some water-based markers to help accent the page, give it a little bit of color, because I do like having color in the sketchbook in some shape, way, or form. After that, we have my OC Kaisen. So this is water-based markers, and then my favorite kind of inking pen, which is a gel needlepoint pen. And he's drawn with a little clobblepus. Just because I really like Clobblepus. I think he's so derpy and adorable, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to have him paired up with Kaisen, even though I think Selwyn kind of fits Clobblepus a little bit more. After that, just a random sketch of Maseki right here. I have some notes over here for something else, and these are planning. So if you saw Monday's video, I talked about making a Patreon for a sticker club. So this was actually the initial ideas, at least for the design of stickers that I wanted to make. I have another separate notebook that has all of my planning in it. So just some scribbles and notes. After that, we have some sketches of Voyager. So she's from Reverse 1999, and these were done with pencil. Planning for a comic, planning out some dialogue, a little bit of paneling, trying to figure stuff out. And to cover up some alcohol marker bleed through, I'm using some sticky notes here. So we have Masaki, we have Kaisen and Koji. And then right here we have Kaisen again. Just something quick. I do think now that we're approaching slightly cooler weather, September is still going to be hot, but like I think I want to do some kind of like winter comic, and I think this one's actually very cute. Next up we have an alcohol marker spread of Voyager from Reverse 1999 because she's one of my favorite characters in that game. More Reverse 1999 fan art. So we have Ezra. He's like one of my favorites as well, especially like visually. His design is like one of my favorites just in general. So I think this is the time when I got a calligraphy pen set as well. So I was just practicing inking, and I actually like both of these quite a bit. I do like the accents of red, and I loved inking his hat. So I would like to revisit inking more with those calligraphy pens because it's kind of fun. After that, we have our little comic. So I did do a video on this, so if you want to take more time looking at this with like a closer look, please check out that video. So they ended up giving him this bear after winning it. So it's kind of like a gift from Masaki, Koji, and Moriko. Also, to kind of like explain a little bit, if you ever see more of like a cooler sheet of paper or like a rectangle on top of my notebook paper, it's usually that I put in a matte sticker paper to help cover up bleed through and allow myself to use both sides of the page because of the sticky adhesive side kind of blocks the alcohol marker from seeping all the way through to the next page, which I think is kind of fun. So I can do alcohol markers without kind of wasting a page per se. After that, we have more OCs. So we have my OC Akemi and his siblings. So this is Arakan, and then this is Anka, which I think Anka's design is pretty much solidified. Arakan, I will kind of change up a smidge closer to the end of the sketchbook. More of Anka. So this is done with water-based markers, and then my favorite needlepoint pen. Just kind of like a 2-color combination spread. More sketches of Anka, so we have more pencil drawings, or like ink drawing down here. But I do like using like water-based markers to kind of like accent the page whenever I can, if it fits like the character. We have like a little sticky note with a bunch of expressions, and then we have more of Arakan, trying to figure out how I want to draw him. Then we have a water-based marker spread of Robin, which is not my favorite here. I do like this like expression and just like what she looks like, but like overall I wish I chose different colors for her. And then a spread that I dislike is this one of Sunday. I've been struggling working with the 3-color combination water-based marker spreads. I might revisit it in the future, but struggling a little bit here. More planning for another comic, which I think you'll see a little bit later on. And then flustered Kaisen sketches right here. Few more sketches of Kaisen, so using that red pencil just to do some sketches, and then shading for these ink drawings, which I actually do like these ones. They're kind of cute. And just this one too. I want to turn this one into a sticker because he looks so warm. After that, we have all my girls. So we have Moriko, we have Sato, we have Anka. And then I did very quick sketches of how I would think they would tie their scarves. So I have a simple kind of version for Moriko. Then we have a cute version, Sato, almost like bow-like, but then more of like a gigantic bow at the very back for Anka because I think that suits hers the best. And then this one's like my favorite. She looks so cute. More pencil sketches. I think this is just me kind of like brain dumping for my flower zine. So we have Masaki, we have Sato, Moriko, Akemi, and Kaisen. And then Masaki, I think, for both of this. I find it funny that this is Barf Hanahaki, because I always love drawing like Hanahaki disease, in though like I don't want him to have like the unrequited love type thing. Little chibis. So I'll put the little examples down here if you're interested, but I did like little festive spinning chibis just for fun to make like little gifts of my OCs. I definitely want to make the ornament one still. I just need to figure out how to do it in a way that doesn't cover Kaisen's expression all too much. Free colors. So free colors with pencil crayons. So ended up trying it with just the 2 colors and then using graphite, but then realized that I don't like what it looks like with graphite, and then changing it to Prussian blue for the rest. So we have Masaki, we have Moriko, we have Kaisen, and then we have Sato. These 2 are my favorite. I think it's just like the distribution of colors is kind of nice. Never free colors, so switching it up, still using the Prussian blue, but ended up using a yellow and an orange. We have 2 of Kaisen, we have Arakan, and we have Koji, which he looks so adorable. I wish I drew Koji more. He's just so fun. Maybe because he's like spunky little kid. After that, oh, I think this is like the only 17 drawing I technically have in here. So this is of Wonu, and I'm kind of revisiting that color palette once again. And I think this is like from a fan signing or fan concert or something like that at the very end of the year. But I thought the outfit was super cute, so I just wanted to quickly doodle him. Then we have, I think this is Fugue and not Tingyun, but this is done with watercolor. And then I did ballpoint pen on top to kind of give the lines a little bit more oomph and kind of stand out from the page. I do like how this one looks. I just don't like how I did her face, but like the watercolor washes look very vibrant and like leaving some of the white areas for shine. I think was kind of nicely done. After that, we have an acrylic marker drawing of Reimu really quickly, and then another sketch of her done with like the blue mechanical pencil. After that, we have another little comic. So I did a bunch of planning on sticky notes, and then these are our main cast. We have Kaisen, we have Masaki, and we have Koji. And then this is done with the calligraphy pens and then alcohol markers to help push some of the values so it wasn't too just black and white. Just going through all of these. I did make this into a video, so if you want like a slower look at all of these, then you can check out that video instead. This was for a moving wallpaper, which I'm using for one of my screens. So basically it's having 17's like little mini teen mascots, and they cycle all the way through like the logo, and whoever disappears comes into the corner. I'll put it on the screen if you guys are interested in watching it. I'll try to like cut it down because it takes a long time to cycle all the way through all 14 of them. And then these are Hiro sketches. So this is from Ensemble Stars, Amagi Hiro, and this was for just celebrating his little birthday. I do like this sketch. I think he looks super cute. More pencil sketches. So this is Marcus from Reverse 1999. I just love her as a character. I love her design as well. She's just so adorable and kind of like awkward. She's very cute. So just wanted to draw her really quickly. Also, I love the art in Reverse 1999. I kind of want to get back into like playing the story more and then doing more drawings of the characters. Next up, we have Tuesday. So speaking of more Reverse 1999 characters, I want to redo the illustration. So this was just planning on trying to figure out how I wanted to do kind of like a mirror pose. I do like my sketches of her in here, so I might want to redo that one. More of Arakan, so pencil sketches, kind of like the needlepoint pen here. One more of him, and then starting soon screen and my see you soon screen. So these are for my stream intro and outro. Just doing a little bit planning, try to do the notes on what I wanted to have for that as well. Then we have a full little mess of a spread of the Herta from Honkai Star Rail. I had another drawing here, which you can kind of see very faintly, but I covered it up with the kind of like paint markers. So acrylic paint markers, and then alcohol markers, and then some doodles on some sticky notes. After that, I wanted to cover up some of the bleed through from the alcohol markers, so using the paint markers and kind of blocking out Mizuki from Genshin Impact. There's like a little doodle of her over here as well. Another one of Mizuki. And then here, I've talked about like in previous videos that in the past, like during my uni days, I've always had like a cheap pack of alcohol markers. And in those cheap packs, there was like 2 colors that were like more prevalent. So actually my nails match kind of in a way. I always love using this, I think it's called like pink peach or something like that, pale peach, and then there was like a pale blue, and I would pair them together because they work so well for like kind of like a carrot color combination, but I do like it having a more like orangey tinge. So I was trying to find a similar color combination that I could use. So I did stumble upon the Artex Oros markers in 140 and 402, and it kind of gives me the same kind of vibe for what I used to use when I was younger. Then continuing with that color combination because I loved it so much. So these are done with alcohol markers and then inked with a needlepoint pen on top. So we have my OC Masaki, and then we have Kairaharu from Nijisanji JP, who is my Oshi from that side. Then we have Alban Knox during when his new outfit was revealed. So similar color palette, similar method. I don't really remember. I think I have footage of it if I did the inking first or if I did the inking second. Most likely I did the inking later. Even more of Alban because one, Alban's outfit was super cute, but also I just love this color palette so much. And I'm taking advantage a lot of the time using the sticker paper so I could do these full spreads using alcohol markers without worrying too much about bleed through. I think there's one more. Yeah, one more spread of this guy. So similar thing, color palette, and just fun, having a good time drawing Alban. After that, trying to find a different color combination. Now I think this is actually very similar to some of the ones that I did for Inktober. So we have Sotheby from Reverse 1999 once again. She's so cute. She's also one of my favorite characters. Any character that I tend to draw is like usually one of my favorites. I don't draw characters that I don't like, especially in my sketchbook. That's like, you know, drawing's meant for me, low-key. Then we have this spread. So done with gouache. I did get frustrated on this drawing, so I ended up not finishing it. We put in a watercolor postcard on top and did a separate gouache drawing or painting. So Kaisen with Kumabon, which is this bear. Then more planning. So I did do a digital comic for this, so it's not going to be shown really in the sketchbook, of my OC Akemi and Sato and kind of like their very first confession during high school. So this is like when they're much younger. After that, we have my OC Moriko, which I do like this spread. I think it's kind of fun with the textures and like the way the washes interacted on the page. I just don't really like her face here. Just playing around with that calligraphy pen once again on top of watercolor sketches. After that, we have Ike Eveland, so 2-color palette and then needlepoint pen on top to do the inking. Then we have my halfway spread. So I've talked about this in like previous sketchbook tours that as soon as I pick which sketchbook that I want to use, I will try to find the middle ground of our signatures right here and find the halfway point. But then I will often forget about it, so that once I reach the halfway point, it will hopefully like push me through towards the end. Obviously in this case it doesn't, because right now we're in February. We're in February right now, but you can see that this takes me all the way up until literally the last day of August, so. Then we have Yejun sketches, so he's from Plave. He is my bias, or like one of them. So water-based markers, and then that same inking pen on top, and then some graphite drawings. I do think these drawings of Yejun look a lot better compared to the ones that I ended up doing of him down here. So these were very quick scribbles. We have Yejun, we have Noah, we have Eunho, we have Bambi, Hamin, and Yejun. Then we have planning for my Anaxa drawing, which I don't really like as much anymore. I might revisit this concept again for the character Sarmenphorus, but you know. After that, we have our spread of Hyacine. So this was done with water-based markers for some of the inking, and then I did alcohol markers for the coloring. Not my favorite spread. I thought it was because of my color choices, so I ended up making another spread, which is this one, using more of like a limited color palette, which I think lacks contrast, which is why I dislike it so much, even though technically these are her colors. So these are water-based markers. Then we have kind of like very bare bones, trying to sketch out what I wanted for Alien Stage illustrations. So I have Hyuna down here, and then I was gonna do like group ones. I have Hyuna and Luca as well. Then my 2 little sticky notes for my clay hippers of Kaisen and Masaki. We have a Kuro sticker and then a Hyuna sticker as well. Then we have a pencil crayon drawing of Calyx, Debonair from Nijisanji En, and then a little blue sketch of him on this side, which I think is super cute. I think I liked how much this sketch turned out, so like later on in the sketchbook you'll see that I realized how much I like this particular pencil, so I'll be using it quite a bit. Oh, I guess like right away. So this was a bunch of planning for a Calyx kind of illustration. Ended up going with something like this, kind of using this for his bouquet and just having fun sketching him. Then we have sketches of Sable. So this is Sable from Nijisanji En as well, and they're from the same wave. So just quick ones. I was watching like one of his horror playthroughs during like early debut days, and then his donut debacle hypothetical on Twitter, which I found very cute, so I wanted to kind of like document it because I found it very silly. Then we have Anaxa sketches. So this was done with alcohol markers with 2 colors and then a very nice dark turquoise needlepoint pen ink on top. After that, we have even more planning for another comic. So I did this one digitally as well, meaning that if you want to see that, there's a video about it as well. I do like that comic. There's some cute panels in there. Then we have a very quick sketch of Ike at the time. More by the beat. So we have Sable, we have Calyx, we have Zeal and Frio. So I think during one of their streams, they were talking about their characters kind of like, or like themselves represent and fit well into different seasons, certain flowers for each of the seasons. So I have tulips for spring, I believe, for Sable. Then we have common zinnia for summer for Calyx. Then we have sweet Elysium for... Is he winter or is Frio winter? I don't really remember who was winter. But we have Hellebores for Frio, and then the sweet Elysium for Zeal. Kind of blue-red sketches and kind of like a flipped color palette on the background. So we have Kaya and D-Luke. I think this is like more when Mondstadt was being announced again. Getting super happy about that. Sketches of Reimu. So just playing around with Reimu in different outfits. So this is Reimu from Nijisanji En, even though it doesn't look like her, so like there's no point of me telling you who it is. But then we have more planning. So this is for Zeal Genjoka's song Corroding Heart. He's also from Nijisanji En, so ended up doing a digital drawing session for that. Then, speaking of Mondstadt again, we have Albedo. So this is done in gouache, and I think with the hype of Albedo coming back, I was kind of fueled by that to paint him. Then we have planning. So this is during, I think, Ike's graduation announcement. I wanted to do like one more drawing for him, or of him, I guess. Then we have Anaxa done with calligraphy pen, but Anaxa sketches. Oh, I really like this one still. So this one is of Anaxa as well, done with pencil crayons, and then I did kind of ballpoint pen inking on top, which I think looks really nice in my opinion. I just like it. The contrast makes it really pop, and then I think I do like how the color kind of fades out and it's kind of more concentrated towards the center of his face. But then I left this page very blank just because I wanted to give it more space for it to breathe. Then we have some pencil sketches. So I think this is when I came back from a convention, so I was kind of like very tired. So I ended up drawing Masaki, I drew Danhong, and then I drew Calyx with the little pom-pom pudding. Then we have some planning for the next illustration on the next page, where I kind of randomized my OCs into their Mario Kart placements, as well as their carts that they're driving. This one was kind of fun to do. I think I appreciate it more after the fact. I think when I was actually drawing them, I was getting frustrated, but looking back at this, it's just a very cute spread in my opinion. More minimal color palette, so back to that peach and that blue. So we have Masaki, we have Kaisen, we have Akemi, we have Sato, we have Koji, Moriko, and then 2 more. So 1 more of Masaki and 1 more of Kaisen. Just wanted to draw little chibis of them, which I found very cute. I do like this one and this one a lot. Then we have Till. So I think this is when Viva... I'm gonna look up the song actually really quick. Yes, this is when the song Vida Loca came out, and I really loved the artwork color palette especially. So I wanted to kind of mimic the same colors. So sketches of Till on the side being all flustered. because we love this sweet, sweet boy. Alien Stage has like a death grip on me. Some more sketches, kind of with the pink and blue again, or like the peach and blue color. So we have Kaveh and we have Al Haytham. I forget what's the context of these outfits, but I did really like them. They're kind of more like, I think, red, black, and white, I think. Then we have my OC Moriko. So this was done with alcohol markers, and then this one's done with water-based markers. Both of them, I think, look very cute. This one's very monochromatic, and then the alcohol markers, I think, worked very well for her color palette. Then we have more alcohol markers, so ended up sketching out Kaisen a little bit on the side with blue and yellow, which I actually really like the sketch. I don't know if it's because of how simple it is of him just eating a onigiri. And then we have him with the little drink that I did for a little video. I do like this one a lot. I do want to kind of like make a whole bunch of them for the rest of my OCs. Because like fun, colorful drinks are always fun to draw for myself. Even more of Kaisen, so in a very Kaisen summery-ish mood. Kind of a blue alcohol marker. And then we have our black inks done with the black needlepoint pen. Trying to figure out like what he would wear for the summer. That's still like very him, but you know, not as bulky of clothing. So kind of similar, we have Masaki with alcohol markers and kind of like a needlepoint pen on top as well. Then we have my OC Arakan. I have had the sketch in my brain for a long time. I even have like a dumb thumbnail of it in my on my iPad in my flower zine folder. And I thought that me doing like a sketch spread of it to kind of like in hopes that it would kind of help me push myself to work on it. I have not. I think I'm going to try attempting it soon. But basically I wanted like a whiskey glass with kind of like the golden color right at the bottom overflowing, and it switches to flowers spilling out of his glass. That's something I want to draw soon. Then we have more planning for Anaxa. So this was for an acrylic paint marker video. So trying to figure out his pose, and then the color palette down here. Oh, this is a lot more planning. I don't think I can talk about the project specifically, but I was trying to figure out poses for 4 people. So yeah, I have poses here, covered them up, try to do a few more, cover them up, did a few more. Trying to figure it out. Then we have more of like where I pushed myself to draw more in my sketchbook. So I made a new OC and his name is Selwyn. And right off the bat, my first drawing of him basically became like the design of him. And then we kind of just go through, see what I liked, what I didn't like. I found something that I liked, so I ended up trying to figure out color palettes for him, and the easiest way for me to do that is using watercolors. So this is ballpoint pen with watercolors on top, then my pencil sketches with more watercolors just to try to figure out what kind of color palette suits him. After that, we have some screen tones and inking, I guess, for the spread of Selwyn as well. This one's very fun to do. I love doing inking and screen tones whenever I get the chance to. Even though inking is my enemy, the overall result I think looks really pretty. More of Selwyn, so we're getting closer to his actual color palette. Then, see, now the light's changing. This is what I'm talking about. The clouds. But yeah, trying to figure out his color palette. I'm using alcohol markers this time because I had more colors to work with. After that, I don't know what happened here. I don't remember what I was planning for. I don't know if it's because of this little crease that it deterred me from making like a full illustration here, but I ended up just drawing Flints and trying to figure out how I wanted to position his face. Did a very quick Flints with like paint markers when he first was initially announced, so his colors are kind of off and I didn't realize what he was supposed to look like. Then we have more pencil sketches, so these ones are of Selwyn as well. I really like this one. I think it just looks very cute with his very plain, simple eyes. Okay, these sketches hurt a little bit. So this is from the Peak collab from Abaga Duyab, which is kind of like a friendship group, I guess, formed under Nijisanji En. So we have Reimu Endo, we have Maria Marionette, we have Reimu again, then I have Calyx, and then Maria again, and then we have Zeal. And they're playing Peak, and then, you know, It was their last collab, so everyone's getting emotional and crying because Reimi was graduating. I love these guys so much. My heart. And then more of Selwyn, so just trying to figure out how to draw him again before I forget. And then Little Fantasy Life version, kind of like a very basic model of him. Because I'm playing Selwyn in Fantasy Life, I just haven't gotten too far. I think things are like closer to level 20-ish. I haven't gotten super far to get like other accessories and stuff so I can make him actually look more like himself. More planning and sketching. So we have Laoma, we have Danheng, another one of Danheng to cover up a sketch I didn't like. Then I have this watercolor, very simple painting of an astilbe, I think is how you say it, of a flower, so that I could make watercolor illustrations for the both of these. Quick Danheng sketch with the little plushie of Danheng as well. Then I did a few poses trying to figure out how I wanted to redraw Columbina. I really liked this one, as well as this one. Well, we ended up doing this pose instead, but there's kind of like quite a few that I could have worked with that I think are very pretty. So I might do more of her, we'll see. And then we have a pencil crayon spread of my OC Selwyn. So kind of like simple colors on this side and then more accurate colors on the side. Masaki. So I didn't really like how I drew his face initially. I don't know what I was going for, but I changed it with a sticky note. But these were just little pen doodles and adding a little bit of blue for some color. Okay, so this is when I was trying to figure out how I wanted Arakan to actually look like, because I was not sold on like choppy bangs for the front of his hair. So I ended up just changing it to be more like finer and just kind of keeping it very dense together. And then when he pushes it up, it'll be like much shorter, kind of more wispy, wavy-ish. So hopefully this is what I'm going to be sticking with, and then trying to figure out his outfit very briefly because they're kind of like more on the simple side. And then planning. So I want to do a watercolor painting for Selwyn again for a live stream. And I was trying to figure out what flower would suit him the best. And technically epithyliums, or like the, what is it called? It's a type of cactus growing flower. It's basically the epiphyllum. They fall under the same name. Would have suited him really well visually, and I think like space-wise, I wanted to go something either moon themed or like star themed, so I kind of went something that had star-esque shapes. So went with the tuberose so that the more like, if you look at it dead on, kind of has like a star-ish shape. And I like the colors of it because I think they can be white and yellow, so I think that kind of suits his color palette a little bit more. But I was trying to figure out like a bunch of different ones here. But I do like this sketch quite a bit, so yeah, I hope to work on this soon. Oh, also he's only crying because like allergies. Then more sketches, kind of playing around with the 2-color palette again. I want to give him Chandelure and a Minior. I don't know. I love Chandelure as a Pokemon just in general, but I think like a Minior would suit him so well if I want to stick with more like a star theme. Then we have Kaisen. I had a few gel pens I was using to kind of block out like a pink and a teal color, or like a baby blue, and then it ran out or got stuck. So ended up using a different color. You can kind of see the difference, but I think it kind of matches well for the most part. Oh, this is another little mini comic I probably want to make, so I won't let you guys see it too much, but basically I wanted to draw Kaisen in this very funny pose that I saw. Just more or less for the fabric, but it doesn't really suit him, so I wanted to make up a scenario on why he would be posing like this. More sketches of Kaisen, so kind of like the aftermath. It's not like much brighter in this room. You can barely see anything. But yeah. Kaisen, kind of like the aftermath of that little photo session. And then him winding down. I wanted to just see what he would look like with his hair more down rather than like poofy, stylized, fluffy. I think he looks super cute. Okay, so we're on this very last page before the ending spread, I guess. Went super quick, just did one of Masaki and then try to figure out like little thank you cards for the Patreon thing. So one of Masaki and one of Kaisen. I don't know which one I'm gonna go with per se, or like if I want to turn these into a print instead, we'll see. But yeah, that leads us to the very last page of our sketchbook, which is Masaki, which he will be... Can the clouds please cooperate? But yes, Masaki to match our our first page a little bit. They're not exactly the same, kind of similar-ish color palette. Definitely made this one much warmer. And I didn't end up putting the goodbye at the very end. I put see you soon because I am super motivated, hopefully, to at least start a new sketchbook soon. But yeah, this is the end of the sketchbook. There is nothing hidden in the back pocket this time. But that's the completed sketchbook. I am kind of disappointed we're ending on like a very cloudy look right now. But the last thing I want to show you guys, which I do, I think every time I've done a sketchbook tour, is to show you guys my options for sketchbooks. And I'll let you guys have like another prediction on which one you think I'm going to be using. But basically, I have a lot more of my own notebooks that I could use as sketchbooks. So we have my carrot one, which I'll show you guys. So bumbungy on the front. I have like a little 100% carrot on the spine, and then until the last say the name on the back, which I think looks super cute. I made this mostly for like a sticker book, I believe. It still looked cute as a notebook. I have this one, I think it's called Floral Waters. I don't really like this one. So this is like my least favorite. Then we have my lily pad one, which I actually still really like the colors. I kind of think maybe for fall, darker colors would suit something. Maybe suits it the best. And then the last one I have, at least like have here. I definitely have like, I think another designer too that I haven't brought back. But we have my Forget-Me-Nots one, which is the one you guys wanted me to use instead of my hydrangea ones when I first showed them. Because it's this really beautiful blue color, and I guess the sun's coming out again. But at least you guys get a better look at the Forget-Me-Not version, which I'm highly biased towards, I guess. So yeah, do you think it's any of these four? Or I have two more. So I have two from an artist I really like, and I saw them at Anime Fawn, I believe last year, but they didn't have their sketchbooks with them, so I bought their Tablemate sketchbook because my friend was a fan of theirs, and I liked their art as well, but I never followed them on social media because I never heard of them at the time, but ended up buying their sketchbook. I used it, actually, the sketchbook before the one we did a tour of today. So the artist that I wanted to buy the sketchbook from told me that they would update their store after their convention season was done, so I ended up picking up this one, which I think is super cute. It has this nice like faded cool gray, greenish gray, I guess, color to it, along with these orange, and then a beautiful spine. And then on the back is this really beautiful kind of like blue and teal color, which I absolutely love. I love this artist so much. Their designs, their characters, their color palettes are like all of my favorites, so I really love their stuff. But I didn't get one, I got two, because I saw this one and I'm like, ooh, the back cover is like my favorite. It's so cute. I love the colors, I love the shapes, everything, the character. And it's kind of more like a linen cover, but it's like much larger. So kind of like size comparison wise, we have this sketchbook, which is fairly large, and then we have this one. And then compared to one of my notebooks, which is much smaller, this is kind of like the size comparison. So I think these three are the ones that I'm gravitating towards the most. So you guys can let me know. I will put them in order like this. Do you guys have a preference of the ones that I've shown you guys today? So either I go and stick with what I'm comfortable with and used to and work in my own notebook, which I would be gravitating towards the Forget-Me-Not version, or I'll be gravitating towards maybe this orange and kind of green-gray sketchbook, which I know I love the paper in. It's very smooth, but it's much more thicker, so the mediums that I'm comfortable using here would react a little bit different. And then this one has the same paper, I believe, as the sketchbook, but this is much larger, so like could be fun for like many larger spreads, who knows. But yeah, I think that's it for today's video. Thanks for hanging out with me and watching me go through my sketchbook today. Yeah, I'm excited to start a new sketchbook for sure. I've been sick of this one, and I think you guys can tell considering that I've taken almost pretty much like twice the amount of time to finish the sketchbook compared to previous ones of the same size and the same amount of paper. So yeah, we're gonna say goodbye to the sketchbook as much as I love it. I mean the design of it. I don't know how many of like the stuff in here I actually really enjoyed, but we're gonna be going on to a new one, which might be one of these three. But for now, I'll talk to you guys next time in the next video. Bye!